What's going on, everybody? And we are back with another reaction style video, and I'm finally talking about Lily Gaddis. Now, I have probably talked about her in passing, but I never actually did a full-blown video about her, even when she first burst onto the scene. For those who don't know, Lily Gaddis is basically the up-and-coming or up-and-rising new staunch anti-black individual. She's very unapologetic with how she feels about it. She basically blew up last year when she was on TikTok and she said the N-word. She ended up losing her job, and because of that, she ended up going on a complete and utter tirade ever since against black people because she feels like it's our fault that she got fired. She constantly likes to blame us because of lack of free speech and all this, that, and the third, and a host of other things. She tries to be around certain individuals, even there's some white people that don't like her, but she still puts herself out there and they still give her platforms to say whatever it is that she wants to say. Most recently, of course, she was on Piers Morgan. She was on a panel and she basically confirmed what we already knew about her, that she is a white supremacist. And it was like pulling teeth with her. Like Piers had to pull teeth in order to get her to say it, and she finally up and just straight up said it. But in this video, we're going to go over this post that she made on May 5th, 2025. And she titled she captioned it, "Blacks love to talk about race war." That in itself is a contradiction, considering whenever we hear about people talking about race war, it's mainly people that look like her. I mean, think about it. Dylan Roof said he did what he did because he wanted to start up a race war. Anytime a white supremacist goes out there and they go and murder a bunch of black people, usually that is what their goal is. And typically that's usually what it boils down to. When's the last time you heard a black person saying that they wanted to go out and start a race war? I'll wait. But they keep trying to put that on to us. And Lily Gaddis is no different. So we're going to go ahead and watch this video. Now, mind you, I have not watched the video yet, so I have no clue what filth this woman is about to say. And I'm looking at her face right now, and that's telling me all I need to know right here. Keep this in mind, y'all. Lily Gaddis is, as far as I know, a single mother to a biracial child. I believe the father of her child is Mexican. But so she's already checked off two of the stereotypes that they love to throw onto black people. Well, more so black women, being a single mother. And then the other one will be, having a mixed race child. Now, of course, that doesn't have to be thrown onto black women, but the single mother one, they love to tack that to black women. I don't think any man who is right in the head, no matter what his ethnic background is, would ever marry this woman. And something tells me she's probably okay with that. And you know what? If she's fine with it, better for humanity. But let's go ahead and see what she's talking about on here, which I'm sure it's a bunch of nonsense.
I love the blacks being like, "Oh, we're gonna get a race war." If there was a race war, you wouldn't win. Okay.
And that's another thing right there. They keep saying like if there was a race war, black people wouldn't win. Like they think that black people don't know military tactics or know how to clean a firearm or know how to do things or know the war room, so to speak. White people like her literally think that they are the only ones that know how war works. And it's crazy considering they are the ones that have committed most or started most of the wars on a global scale. But they want to say that we're trying to start a race war. We're not trying to start anything. Now, I will say this: if you bring something our way, we're going to respond in kind. That's what it. But see, a lot of people like her think that black people are just still in this docile state. But she's saying that for every black person, like every black person is just going to just lay there and take it. That's the mindset she has, and she's not the only one with that mindset.
First of all, you might have plenty of guns, but you don't know how to shoot them. You think this is how you shoot guns. You think this is how you shoot a pistol. That's not.
So that tells me right there who she's been watching. So Lily Gaddis, you out there watching rap videos and hood classics because you see she's getting her intel from watching television or watching movies. She doesn't know that there are a lot of black people that know how to properly hold a firearm, whether it's a handgun or an AK or an AR. But we know what she be watching. She be watching the Ebony section of Tubi, or like what we call it, the hood classes of the 90s, like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, and all movies like that. But that Not every black person holds their gun like that when they're shooting. But that's her mindset. That's where she gets her knowledge of black people. And honestly, that's how a lot of white supremacists think. They get their knowledge of black from seeing something that would show us in a degenerate or a negative way. And they automatically think that's how all of us are.
I know you saw that in a movie and you thought it looked cool.
What did I just say? She said, I know you saw that in a movie and thought that looked cool. Lily, that's probably what you were watching. And that's why you imitated it in that way. Because how would you know that unless you watched it? That's what I'd like to know.
And you saw your favorite fucking rapper doing that, but that's not how you aim and shoot a gun. The only reason blacks have not exterminated themselves in the hood, because black on black violence is insane and through the roof, is because they're such horrible shots.
Oh my God. See, this is the and see, let me just say right now, before anybody says it, don't come into my comment section saying, Torian, you should debate her. Why would I? She's a lost cause. Okay, she's already made up in her mind that this is how she is. There will be no point of me debating her. None. All it would do is give me a headache. We aren't even a minute in, and she has said a bunch of nonsense already. Because she throws out a bunch of propaganda and seeing what sticks. And the thing is, this is how she got famous, by saying the N-word. This is literally her claim to fame. Her saying that word. And if you go through her timeline on Twitter, she posts that word any chance that she gets, whether it's with the A or the ER. She, like I said, she even boldly said it right there on that panel with Piers Morgan. And she has no shame in it, because that's how she got famous. That's how she blew up. That's how she got propped up, and by the usual suspects. And then they started finding some stuff about her, and then they tried to drop her like a bad habit. But the thing is, they pedestalized her, and now she won't go away. Like I tell you, it won't be our job to get to, shoo her away. It's going to be on them, because they're the ones that propped her up. They are the ones that brought her to the forefront. And now they can't silence her. She's always popping off at the mouth, and she's always running her mouth. Do you know how much stuff I had to scroll through just to get to this video? Because I thought I had bookmarked it. I had to scroll through about 30 posts just to get to this one post that she posted on the 5th. It is the 9th. That just shows you how much she talks on Twitter, because that's the only platform that will have her. Because I don't think she's on TikTok anymore, because that's where she was at. But then she came over here on Twitter, and then now, again, this is who they propped up. And again, she also is a heavy supporter of Shallow Hendrix. She believes that she had every right to do what she did. Just go look at the Piers Morgan interview. She felt that that woman had every right to do what she did and say what she said to a child. To a child. This is Lily Gaddis in a nutshell.
So you really think you're gonna beat a duck hunter who shoots ducks for a living, for fun, on his free time, and doesn't miss? Really, nigga?
Listen, there she is. And even how she said it, it sounds so forced. Like it's almost like she struggled to say it. Like, you heard what she just said it, and I'm not going to blur it out. I'm going to let y'all heard it. She does this all the time, because she feels that no one's going to check her on it. She's gotten comfortable. They've made her comfortable. They've made her comfortable to do this. That's why I said, when her wake-up call comes, it's going to come more so from them and not from us. However, if she does get a wake-up call coming from us, I would definitely not be opposed to it.
Shot a water snake today. It was, these fucking water snakes, dude, have been getting our eggs from the ducks, and I've had enough with it. I battled this snake the other day because I went to open and let the ducks out, and the snake was like hanging out right under the rafters of the duck house. And I was like, oh my God, scared the shit out. I fucking hate snakes with a passion.
Who cares? Now she's just babbling. Now she's just babbling at this point. Now she's telling her war story, I suppose. And I'm guessing this is going to lead into her knowing how to use a gun.
But I went there and I'm like battling him. So I got the hoe and I'm like trying to get him out there because he's like stuck and he's hanging on, and I'm like fucking battling with this thing, and I finally get him and throw him, and now he's back. He's fucking back. Not anymore, baby. He's gone. He gone.
And she's so lame. Like, she really thinks that she's doing something. And notice that when she said the word, and then what she just said right here and how she said it, it's almost like she was trying to imitate a black accent, and she didn't. She couldn't pull it off in any measure at all. I typically don't use the word lame to describe a woman because that's usually something I always reserve for, like if it's a male. But in her case, I'm gladly making an exception. Lily Gaddis is not only staunchly anti-black, but she is virally lame. Like, she thinks she's funny. She thinks that people gravitate towards her because she's a quote-unquote good person, or that she thinks that people like her because of her personality. Or no, that's not it. It's because you said something that ignited something in them to support you. But even that has a shelf life. Even that's going to wear off eventually.
He gone.
Especially because there's so many more out there that's like her. It's not like she's unique. We've seen this act play out so many times before.
But anyway, my point being, white people have been shooting for sport for a long time. So let's not bring that up, okay? It's not going to end the way you think it.
And then now that she just said white people have been shooting for sports. So she talked about duck hunters and stuff like that. So that also leads into the mass shootings. So Lily, when you say white people have been shooting for sport, do you include the mass shootings at schools where the assailant happens to be a white person, usually typically a white young male who's taking out multiple people of all ages? And a lot of times they typically, depending on what school they go to and the demographics, are white like yourself, because that would be in some people's eyes seen as shooting for sport. So that to me is saying Lily even endorses that. This woman literally endorses and supports violent and degenerative behavior, no matter who it comes from, but especially if it comes on at the direction of black people. So this woman is a straight up degenerate through and through. And you know what? She probably would take that as a compliment, as long as it doesn't violate her free speech and as long as it happens to black people.
It is. All right. And by the way, that's another psyop of this thing. For all the people, the James Lindsays, the typical people you would think, they're all calling this Shiloh thing a psyop. Oh yeah, it's just a psyop to trick us into a race war, because you know what the Jews really want? They want the blacks and the whites working together. No. Okay, that's actually never going to happen. The blacks and the whites will never put aside their differences and fight the Jews. That's never going to happen. First of all, the blacks are convinced they're the Jews. Have you checked in on a black Hebrew Israelite lately? They're some of the most retarded people on the planet.
It's funny that she's talking about people being remedial when she's the one being remedial right now. But again, that's another thing when it comes to these white supremacists, is that when it comes to us, they think they know everything down to the molecular level about us and don't know a damn thing. They don't even know themselves. That's the crazy part. They don't even know themselves, but want to sit there and finger wag and try to tell others about us in our history.
Okay. The hubris of these people, black Hebrew Israelite, it's a really like peak worst types of blacks.
And you know what's so crazy? She wouldn't even tell this to the face of a black Hebrew Israelite. She wouldn't say that to their face. At least she wouldn't say that in person. I've seen them on the corner, like down in DC. They don't play. Do y'all see how they came out in droves in support of Kyrie Irving a couple years ago when he posted the link to that documentary from Amazon that had been up there for years, but then they got upset because he just posted the link and they came out in droves. Like in my lifetime, I never seen that many. And they came in, they marched from wherever to the Barclays and just stood out and just stood there. Straight up intimidation. Of course, the person who ended up getting the last laugh was Kyrie Irving, and the person who cried and frowned was, what's his name? Peter Tsai, the owner or the former owner of the Nets. So I don't know what she's talking about, but what she just said right here, she would not tell them that to their face. I know that for a fact. And if she does, I would like to see that recorded on a video and see what the outcome is. And she has to do it by herself. She cannot come with a crew of people as backup. She needs to be there by herself and tell that to a group of Hebrew Israelites. I would love to see how that plays out.
Because they think they're amazing, you know? But no, so these people were like, oh man, you're just saying that because you're just trying to cause racial division. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So now I get labeled as somebody's trying to start a race war.
Lily, don't sit up there and act dense. If you could start one today and you felt that it was in your favor to win, you definitely would. See, now she's trying to do the thing of, oh, it's black people trying to start a race war, and then she's going to come up here and say, oh, they're doing this and doing that. And let me just tell you something right here. Lily Gaddis is a rage bait artist. Like, that's all she's doing right here. That's why I'm speaking in a very calm tone, because I've listened to her talk to the point where I said, I already know what type of person I'm dealing with here. And like, that's why I said earlier, she's not unique. What she's doing right here, she's not one in a million. I don't know where to put her on the counter, but it's not even number one.
Anytime I mention black crime, that's the new go-to.
She's probably like 1 in 5, maybe 10. I would say that, but definitely not in a million.
That's the new go-to. Okay, I get it. So it's woke right, that didn't stick. And now it's, oh, you're trying to start a race war. No, I'm actually just talking about black crime. Okay, I don't want a race war. All right.
Oh, please, Lily, stop it. You know you want something to pop off. Because if not, then why would you get on here and talk about this? Black people are, see, and that's another thing. They play out these scenarios in their head, in their imagination, wherever it takes them. I don't know. Somewhere in that maze they call a mind, that something is going to pop off because that's what they want to happen. Lily's sitting here acting like she doesn't want a race war, please. That is a lie. We've heard her talk over the last year and some change. If something was to pop off right now, she would be sitting back with her popcorn and her wine and clapping like she just watched the best performance ever.
I know we would win, but I don't want that.
Listen what she just said. I don't want a race war. I know what we would win. Then why would you come back and say you would win? If you didn't want a race war, she just constantly contradicts herself. And she's a hypocrite.
Actually, I would never try to incite something like that. It's not going to happen. When we come to power, there will be no need for a race war. We can just round them up and deport them all.
Listen to that. There won't be a race war. We can just round them up, and she's talking about us, and just deport us. Lily, how about you round yourself up and deport yourself back to Europe? Well, first, I don't know where her true lineage is, but I'm gonna just say it's Europe or somewhere in them Caucasus Mountains. Why don't you go back to them caves and continue life over there? But we know that she won't do that. But she's saying we will round them up and we would just round them up and deport them all if it even came down to it. See, she has, again, in this mind, she's already fixated that black people don't know military tactics, or black people don't know how to properly use a firearm or anything like that. Well, and the thing is about war, it is beyond just weapons and destruction. Usually when war starts, it usually starts on paper through dialogue before you actually get out into a battlefield. Notice she didn't say anything about that. That just lets me know she's the one that will go and run right out into the battlefield, and she'd be the first one taken out because she's dumb.
And that's what will happen. But anyway, and I was thinking about this too.
Oh, you think? Interesting. She didn't peg me as a thinker.
Jews are so fucking arrogant, that will be their downfall. You know, just like what I think we talked about this with Ken the other day. It will really truly be their downfall because they can't help themselves. This is why they tell on themselves. This is what
I want to know is, if she made this video pretending to black people, why did she bring that group into this? And that's the second time she did that in this commentary. Is why did she bring them up? And I think I know why, because when the amount of these white supremacists out here, a lot of them think that black people, and I'm going to speak on FBA in particular, are somehow linked or locked in with Jewish people or the Jews. For some odd reason, they think that we're linked together and we're coming together to quote unquote annihilate white Americans. Like, that's something that I don't know where that came from. I really don't know where that came from. Like, y'all just saw a video that I did recently about a black man in a wheelchair walking his dog that was attacked by a Jewish man in New York. Like, he literally hit him with multiple objects and then pushed him out of his wheelchair. How do you link up with that? How do you collab with that? I don't get it.
Why they self-report all the time. They write it down in books. They write it in articles about what they're doing, what their little fucking plans are, because they have to brag about it, because they're not good at anything. The only thing they're good at is subverting, committing assassinations, blackmail operations. They're really good at that. Nepotism, being fucking creeps. That's what they are good at. So they have to flex it. But they despise us, okay? They despise us. They despise their enemy. And I not just despise in the way that they hate us, but they think we're just a joke.
Lily, you are a joke. What a way to end this. You are a joke. I don't know if anyone's told her that or not, but she definitely is indeed one lame run-on joke. And I don't know where or why she wouldn't think that she is, or if anyone told her. And that's another thing. They be sitting up there in her chat just lying to her, saying how smart she is, how intelligent she is, how brave she is. And it's weird how they come out and say, oh, you're so brave because she said the N-word. What? Because you think you're some defender of the freedom of speech? I swear they throw hero and brave and attach it around so loosely and attach it to some of the people that don't even fall under those two labels. Like her, they did it with Shiloh Hendricks. They did it with Daniel Penny. I mean, if that's how you're defining heroism and bravery, then we need to go into Webster's dictionary and really pick apart what the definition is again, according to what has been written years ago. Now, before I go ahead and end this reaction off, let me just say this. People like Lily Gaddis love to say that they're oppressed. They love to say that black people are against them, or just go look at that Piers Morgan panel that they had. It's about an hour long. I'll understand if you can't stomach it. It is what it is. But people like Lily Gaddis, they claim that they don't like victims, they don't like victimhood and all this, that, and the third. Yet they're getting on here on their platforms, which seems to be now day in and day out, saying how I am protecting free speech, or how dare you say that I can't say this, or if black people can say this, why can't I? Does that not sound like victimhood? This is coming from a person who is attached to a group of people who literally run this establishment. But because they can't run it the way that they feel like they can or they want to, or like how their ancestors did, now they feel like they're losing something. They feel like they're being stripped of their rights, or they feel like they're losing power that they wanted to have or they thought that they did have. Lily, I don't know what to tell you, but if you really wanted power like you claim that you do, or whatever it is that you want, then you need to lock that up with your ancestors or your clan ancestors for not one, having you back in, like, say, the 1700s, and having you being birthed as a male. Because I don't know what to tell you. Because all she has is getting on Twitter and saying a whole bunch of nonsense like what she just displayed in this video that made no lick of sense whatsoever. And again, she really thinks that black people don't know military tactics. When what, do you think black people never served? Or they're not going to teach others, if they don't want to serve, how to do just basic military tactics? That's what she has ingrained in her mind. And then she again brought up the Hebrew Israelites. She wouldn't say anything that she said about them to their face. I can almost guarantee it. But like I said, if she did, I would like to see how that all went down. Someone please keep me alert about that, just in case it does happen. But I'm going to go ahead now and end this reaction. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.